Okay, kids, this is the last part of the ocean circulation, and this relates much more to the so called global conveyor belt or the thermohaline circulation. They are essentially the same. It's a global conveyor belt because, as we said, water sinks in a few places like the Greenland, Iceland, Norwegian seas, or the Jin seas, or in the Southern Ocean, Weddell Sea, Ross Sea, and so on. The water that sinks is also subject to the rotational effect, so it has to follow particular paths. It cannot just go wherever it wants, and then it comes up in places where there are many processes involved in converting that heavy water into lighter water. Remember, if the water sinks, it need not come up. It's happily sitting there heavy at the bottom, but some processes happen that keep mixing that heavy water at the bottom with the lighter water just above it and the lighter water just above it and all the way to the surface, so that over time, as we said, some 100 years, hundreds of years, sometimes maybe 1,000 years to convert that heavy water into surface water. And then where do they go? They obviously have to go back to the place where the water is sinking, because when water sinks, new water has to replace that water, right? So this is how the global circulation works, and we call it thermohaline circulation because it's related to thermo, which means temperature, and haline, which means salt. Remember, we said when evaporation happens, you remove water vapor and leave salt behind, so that increases density, or you can just cool the temperature so much that they get heavier in density and sink. So there are various processes. You can also form ice. When you form ice, the salt in the water gets rejected. It's called brine rejection. So if you form a lot of ice, you can also create heavy water, and then that can also sink. So all these various processes come together and form heavy water in a few select places, and then that water gets converted over time into lighter water and comes back and returns to the place where they sank before. Not exactly the same water, but along the way lots of mixing happens and so on. Okay, exciting stuff, right?